Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another Toolsday. My name's Kyle, and I've got a tool for you today that is definitely a very niche tool. Everyone probably uses one, but not one like this. So let's get right into it. Today we're going to talk about something fairly simple, and that is a caulk gun. Most of you have probably seen something like this. This is just a nice hand-powered caulk gun, the original cordless power tool. And it's going to operate strictly by putting a tube of caulk in, and the pressure that is given by pumping the handle, it's going to put caulk out the end. Problem with one of these is that they're great if you're doing minimal caulking. But if you do get onto some work where you are really going to be caulking all day or laying down beads of adhesive, which is what I ran into on a commercial job a couple years back, and it led me to purchase this power tool, which anytime you can put a battery on a tool and work a little bit smarter and less hard, that is a good thing. So I picked this Milwaukee up. It's about $200. So right away, you got to have a use for it. You're not going to pick this up to do a little bit of casing caulk before you paint a window or something like that. You're going to really need a need for it. And what I like about this gun, we're just going to jump right into it. You've got some dials here. So this dial is going to change the flow of the material, and you can basically go from 0 to 21 inches per minute. Depending on the material, that's what they rate it at. Basically for me, it's like controllable to almost too fast, where you can't even control the amount of caulk that's coming out or sealant that's coming out of the tube. This thing weighs about 4.9 pounds. So definitely over the course of a day, you can't expect it to not add to the fatigue that something like this would do that doesn't weigh hardly anything but the tube of caulk. But this tool specifically is made for either a 10-ounce cartridge, which is going to be similar to these small tubes that are very readily available, or the 20-ounce sausage tubes, which I don't ever use personally, but I know there's a lot of products out there that they send out their adhesives in either 10-ounce, a 20-ounce, or the really large tubes, which I can't even remember how big they are, but we only use those when we get into a lot of subfloor adhesive. Now, Milwaukee claims that you can do 200 tubes of material through this gun on one single charge, but they don't say what charge battery they're talking about. I personally would probably use a 5.0 on this. 200 tubes is quite a bit, so this gives you an idea the type of application that you're going to be using something like this for. Because the job that I was talking about earlier, it was a commercial job. We were putting up a big steel frame building, and we were using structural insulated panels, which if you didn't know what that is, that's a SIP. And they're basically steel on the inside, steel on the outside, and insulation in the middle. And they get put together, usually a tongue and a groove, but each one of those panels had to have a 1/4-inch bead of adhesive all the way from top to bottom. The material we were using was not an easy flow material, so using a gun like this would have been probably carpal tunnel in the making. When we started using this, it made it effortless, and that was a job where all of it was done on the ground, so I'm not up over my head, and that is where this tool really shined bright. Since that job, I randomly use it here or there, but it's one of those tools that you buy once, you cry once, you put it in the tool arsenal, and you bring it out, and you're happy you had it when the time comes. So like I said, really cool features is that it can change the speed of flow. It has a mechanism inside where it produces a constant flow even though it is stepping the motor inside and incrementally moving this guy just a little bit further. You can see the gears here. It's going to do it very constant, so you don't ever get that push out that you do with a traditional gun as you're pumping it, right? But then what's also nice is everybody knows when you get done with the material and you're done caulking for the day, you gotta release the pressure. This is gonna do it automatically. So if I'm running this thing, I'll just do it for a little demo. You can see it going in. As soon as I let my finger off the trigger, it's going to release the pressure automatically, and that really helps with a lot of product out there that has a tendency to keep dripping out the end. But not a whole lot of things to talk about with this gun. It's pretty straightforward, but I think it's one of those tools that when you're getting to the end of, you know, the list that says tools I want to buy, this is maybe one you should consider. I'm going to go ahead and do just a little bit of a demo showing hand tool caulking versus power tool caulking. So I figured the first thing we can do is I'll just go ahead and do a quick bead here. I drew a couple lines, and I'll use the hand caulk gun here, the non-powered one. So with a traditional caulk gun, you know, you're going to get that material coming out, and then you're going to do a nice pressure on your hand while you're going, but you're going to get to the point where you're going to want to apply pressure, and that's where potentially you're going to get kind of a weird spot right here. I mean, obviously that's a little bit extreme. I could probably do this whole thing in one nice bead if you got a lot of practice, but you're always going to get you're always going to run into a spot where you're going to have to reapply pressure, and that is just, you know, natural with a caulk gun. Not that this is a problem. I mean, obviously most of you probably already use one of these and can do a perfect bead, but like I said, when you get into a situation where you're running extremely long beads and you're running through multiple tubes at a time or within a certain period of time and you want to save your hand, that is where this is going to come in. So let's go ahead and swap this out, and I'll kind of show you how it dials down, and you can speed it up or slow it down. This caulk gun is inherently an issue usually, but that went pretty good. Okay, so all you're going to do is this guy here is going to just thread right off. You're going to stick your tube in, and obviously if you're going to use the 20-ounce sausage tube adapter, you're just going to thread this off. And now the nice thing is you can always constantly move this around so you can get the angle of your caulk tip exactly where you want. I'm going to go ahead and start this at 1 just so you can kind of see what's going on, but that's going to be probably way too slow, so we're going to dial it up. It's also pushing into the bottom of the caulk before it's going to start applying it, so we got to find that. You know what? Let's just, there. Now we should be good. So you can see here, I'm not going to get any drip. That was at about a 3, so let's go ahead and dial it down, because I know most people don't want a bead like that, which obviously you can control the size of the bead based on the speed that you're applying. And the nice thing is that there's no effort. So you can basically, you know, hit a thick spot if you got to slow it down, but the rate of control and the flow is just going to be consistent, and that is going to happen the entire caulk tube. Let's go ahead and just speed it up, and I'll show you kind of how fast you can go, even though, and this is a very simple product, I've got some quad here that is, you know, inherently tough to move, and I'm going to try that next, but I'll show you how fast this thing will go. Okay, nobody probably needs it that fast unless you're just throwing out some subfloor adhesive or some other, you know, just mass product out that you want to just lay out as quick as you can. And that's what's nice, because you can't do that with your handgun. Let's go ahead and swap this over to some quad so I can show you how good it does with that too. Okay, we're going to dial this down. We don't want it pushing out too hard. I'm just going to push that in all the way till I find the bottom of the tube. Let's see what happens. You know, if you want to dial it down, you can do that. Or you can really move at a pretty high rate of speed. And notice that there's never any change in consistency. It's just constant. And then no drip. So I think that's pretty cool. I just did a little quick mock-up here, just kind of showing, you know, where maybe you're gonna be, you know, applying some caulk or something in a joint, and you wanna dial in a really nice bead the whole way through. You know, obviously the better, or the more you do this, the better you're gonna get. But I just wanted to throw a nice little bead of some OSI quad down just to kind of have a little fun. Now guys that are working in maybe kitchen countertops, doing some maybe smart side, somewhere where you don't want to have to use a striking tool, you don't want to use your finger because some of the caulks and adhesives out there, you don't actually want to do that. You can lay down a really nice bead without having to worry about having those abrupt changes when you're, you know, readjusting your hand on a standard gun. So that's really what it boils down to, guys. This is not a gun that, you know, the average guy is gonna need. Maybe you want it just because, yes, you can really dial in your beads and do a really good quality job when you get good at, you know, knowing what setting you wanna be on. It's heavy, it's cumbersome. It definitely doesn't fit in a lot of tight spaces. But, you know, when it comes to fatigue on the job site, when it comes to being efficient and, you know, just overall maybe being, you know, happy to use a power tool, this is a pretty cool tool. At 200 bucks, you're gonna buy a lot of handguns before you ever pay for this. But once again, buy once, cry once. Sometimes you pay for what you get. I don't know, I thought this would be handy and helpful to you guys. I used this in my home remodel the other day, and some people reached out to me like, hey, tell us about that caulk gun. I've been thinking about getting one. This is by no means a new tool. I bought this probably 4 years ago, and I love when I have a chance to use it. So thanks for watching. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe for the weekly videos, you know, either a Toolsday video or the build series. And if you got any tips or tricks or questions you've got for me or want me to share, go ahead and message me and I'll do the best I can to make that video for you. But until next week, we'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot. Wow, dude, I don't know. I mean, every once in a while you find a squirrel finds a nut, because that ended up being like the most perfect bead ever with the pressure of the camera. Take a look at that thing.